Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and today I want to share with you adventure number 3 out of 52. See, as I'm standing on railroad tracks here in Seal Beach, California. Not exactly railroad tracks. Stealth's wife and I just finished having a historic picnic. This is a park that's on the old Red Car. Well, as the nickname, Red Car is actually called Pacific Electric, which you might be able to read on the railroad sign. It's old Red Car line. So this used to connect Orange County. This is Seal Beach and Orange County to downtown Los Angeles. The Red Car at one time had 1,100 miles of track in the greater Los Angeles area, Orange County area, over 100 years ago. See, this line ran in 1903, 1904. There's a plaque behind me here. We'll take a look at that in just a second. So Seal Beach was actually called Bay City at the time that service started on a red line. And if you might be able to see, let me see if I can give you a shot here. You can see there's a little chunk of track right down here that they put in. It's a little museum area. And there's picnic tables and other features we'll talk about in just a second that are here on the old Pacific Electric right-of-way. And in 1914, the city was incorporated and renamed Seal Beach. It's a beautiful area. We'll just, before I get off on that track, check this out. Here is one of the original train cars. This is why it was called the Red Car. How cool is that? So they were literally red cars. Walk with me here. We'll walk down alongside the train. So they were red cars, even though it was called the Pacific and Electric. Let me step back a little bit here so you can see the name on the side of the car. Can you see that? Nope, we're looking at the wrong end. So right here behind me, it says Pacific Electric on the side of the car, lovingly called Red Car. And this used to shuttle people from what's now Seal Beach, or at the time was Bay City, into Los Angeles, Long Beach. In Los Angeles, we were just south of Long Beach. And this particular car has been put here as a museum, which is now closed, partly because I believe it's restoration, partly because of the pandemic. So you can see Red Car Museum. How cool is that? Now, the track, so as you can see, there's like the classic kind of cow catcher front on it on both sides, because the cars would travel both sides. It just be able to reverse it, and it was all run by electricity, no diesel, so it's pretty quiet. Tooled along. They can see this brick building back here. Now there's a library. Seal Beach Library is built in the old Red Car right-of-way, the old Pacific Electric right-of-way. So this is neat. So imagine that, Mr. Huntington owned the Pacific Electric Company, and he had over 1,100 miles of track that was all privately owned. It was installed in the late 1800s, 1880s, I believe. It was up and running. Ran into the 1960s. Part of the challenge was there was a huge, at the time it was the longest lawsuit in the history of the United States. There was a huge lawsuit because Pacific Electric was eventually bought by Goodyear Tire and General Motors, who intentionally ran, and this was they lost the lawsuit over this, they intentionally ran the company out of business because they wanted to have buses in rubber tires on the buses instead of the red cars, which ran on a rail. So there's all these miles and miles of track that was no longer used after it was closed in the 1960s. And because, which now mostly has either been torn up, or the city of LA or the county of LA is city of Los Angeles County are paying literally billions of dollars to tear up track and put lay new track in some areas. So they rebuilt at the cost of billions of dollars, but now it's government owned rather than privately owned. Commuter track with electric trains like this to cover a fraction, not a quarter of what used to be available. So General Motors and the tire companies lost the lawsuit, but because it took so long for the lawsuit to play out, all of the people that had been involved in the decisions were dead. They had passed away. It was a 40, 50-year long lawsuit. And if you've got the exact information on that, put it in the comments, will you? did this off the cuff. We were having a picnic here, and I thought, wow, check this out. We were having an adventure. We wanted to share that with you. So anyway, because the lawsuit went so long, and partly because how the lawsuit had been filed and how it was structured, trying to get the museum in here in the background. There we go. Because everybody was dead that was involved with the corrupt decisions to intentionally run this phenomenal. It was one of the best civic transportation systems in the world, even though it was privately owned, because it had been intentionally run out of business to the detriment of the community here in Southern California. General Motors and the tire companies and the other companies that had colluded with them were found guilty. And I don't know if it was under antitrust or what the legal reading was. Anyway, because everybody had since passed, the companies were only fined $1 for putting this phenomenal system out of business through anti-competitive practices, which was unfortunate from the standpoint of being able to really have, for the people to have leverage with saying, look, this is anti-competitive, this isn't right, but a $1 fine that set a precedent where it really took the teeth out of it. Because what's $1 to General Motors, right? At the time. Now, and this isn't to bag General Motors. This is all, go look it up. This was what happened. This is what they were found guilty of. And it was just at the time, right? It was a different era. The lawsuit, I believe, started like in the 1940s or earlier. It was a very, very long lawsuit. And anyway, a little bit of history, but it's cool. Moving on from that, it's just neat to see this is how people used to travel in Southern California 120 years ago, 130 years ago. And still some of the remnants are here. Now, I don't know if this was one of the first, this probably wasn't one of the first cars ever put on the line, but if you're ever in Seal Beach, California, stop by and check this out. Plus, there's this phenomenal park you can see behind me here. Look at this. So this park goes for like 8 blocks, runs parallel. So Pacific Coast Highway is 1.5 blocks to this side of it. Right, so it's quiet. There's a lot of trees here. You get the breeze off of the ocean. 1 block from the center of Seal Beach, which has a bunch of shops. You can walk out on the pier. There's fishing. It's just such a beautiful, peaceful, classic Southern California beach community. Yet 2 blocks away is the mayhem of Pacific Coast Highway on a Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of traffic. It's noisy. And there's this 3-4 lanes going each direction. It's this really huge, wide highway. And yet here we are 1.5 blocks away. Can you hear that? You got the breeze, you got the sound of the leaves in the trees. We sat at a picnic table and had a great lunch. One of our favorite sandwich shops. Had a Godfather sandwich and Stealth had a hoagie. Oh my gosh, it was phenomenal. I'll put the name of the shop in the comments. Stop by if you're ever in the area, because I tell you, it is delicious. Today's a cheat day for me on eating. Thank you, Tim Ferriss, because I enjoyed the hell out of that sandwich and you made it possible. So anyway, here we are, and you can see, so let me turn this again. Actually, we're closer to the downtown area than I thought. So here's the other end of the red car. So I'm going to turn around. You can see behind me here, this next intersection, 1/2 block back. There we go. So back here, this intersection behind me, that you walk over there, make a right-hand turn, and you're on the main boulevard in Seal Beach. It's beautiful, it's serene. Again, it's a fun area. You can enjoy the park, you can enjoy the beach, you can enjoy the pier. There's all kinds of restaurants and neat little shops. Stop on down. This is the adventure we're having today. Just it's just a big, like last week I did that out in the mountains with Sheila, my Harley. This weekend, my wife, we nickname her Stealth Wife because you hear about her, I talk about her, but you'll probably not see her on camera. A lot of people know of her, but very, very few ever actually get to meet her. Super, super individual. And she and I had, a great lunch, great conversation, and we're just enjoying it. We're both like, wow, this is a great way to decompress on a nice Saturday afternoon. What are you doing today? What's your adventure? How are you decompressing? How are you changing your frame of mind? share in the comments. Want to hear what you're doing. Remember, that's your challenge. 52. Join us. 52 adventures. This is number 3. Got some more coming. We're having an adventure. How about you?